one of our videos generated over 100,000 views in 4 days. It went viral, and we had over 11,000 requests to our landing page, and that transformed into a little over 122 showings in 4 days.
Hello and welcome to episode 65 of the Smart Agents podcast. My name is Michael Walter and I'll be your host. In today's episode, we are joined by the husband and wife team of Darren and Kat Leblanc. Based in Sudbury, Ontario, the Leblanc Group has made a major name for themselves through their one-of-a-kind listing marketing. The videos they produce look as if they were part of the latest HGTV feature. But, like their slogan says, no home is too big or too small for the high-quality marketing this duo puts behind each and every one of their listings. Now, before we get on to today's featured interview, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents podcast. You can find the show on all major podcasting platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and now Amazon Music. Also, as you can see if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Click the bell to get notifications when each new episode is uploaded. And lastly, if you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story or a tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. We're always on the lookout for new stories to share. All right, let's get on to the day's featured interview with Darren and Kat LeBlanc, where we talk all about their one-of-a-kind listing marketing. I've also linked their YouTube page in the episode description for you to take a look for yourself. So honestly, really the way I like to start everything out is if you could just tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're at and how you guys got your start in real estate.
Oh, geez. I got my start by accident almost about 20 years ago. I was in the car business, and my family has been in real estate for, almost 40 years. And being a young kid growing up with it, you never wanted to be a realtor. You want to do something else. And I decided to get into car sales. And I became the number one salesperson in the world for the franchise I was working with. And we had a contract dispute at the last second. So I got fired. And it's a true story, so it's wild. So I actually got into real estate to fund my legal defense, and became extremely successful in Toronto doing that, and won the court case. But I enjoyed real estate. We were really good at real estate, and was living in Toronto, but doing it on my own the whole time, right? And I always one of my things was always wanting Catherine to join us and join the team. And it's been really, that's where the business really changed, right? It was when my partner was able to join me, because I wasn't doing it alone, right? And I think, I don't know if this podcast is going on mostly to agents, but or to general public, but it's one of the most lonely businesses that you could be in, right? Because you're always working, as a sole realtor, you're always working alone, right? So it's really nice to have a partner that you can work with, and because that was the one thing I missed from the car business, was having all your kind of coworkers beside you and looking forward to working with somebody every day. So, starting at zero every day is hard, but it was a really, really transformational when my wife came on board, and our business is just, it's exploded every year. We double our production every year for the past 4 years. So it's just continuing to grow. It's been fun.
Right. And so Catherine, what was it that made you want to join the team and get into real estate?
Well, my main focus was, of course, our kids when they were little. So as they were, I guess, growing up and, doing their own thing, I had more time. So I started more or less on the admin side, taking care of his emails, so on and so forth. So people would be messaging him, but they were really talking to me. And it was just like, we were very responsive, very quick. And the customer service level was growing astronomically. And I think it was just when, he could no longer, fulfill all the appointments. That's kind of when I thought, maybe I should get licensed, and then together, we can divide and conquer. And just like Darren said, once I joined the team, it's just, every year we're doubling our business. And so I think it was more or less, I saw that he needed the help. So that's when I decided to make the move. And like I said, my kids were getting older, so I had more time to do that.
So Yeah. Tell me about your business. What do you guys focus on, or, how have you grown the business over the years?
I think really the biggest thing that really transformed our growth was there's lots, right? I think before we get into like some of the big things, I mean, one of the things that I've always believed in was just doing the best for our clients, right? And marketing our clients' properties and putting all our marketing dollars into our clients. So we're the one realtor that we know that we don't buy benches, we don't buy buses, we don't buy billboards or anything like that. 100% of our marketing dollars goes into marketing the property. 100%. You'll see nothing advertised about us, nothing. And so we believe that message really comes across to all our clients, and they see that we're 100% focused on them as opposed to 100% focused on us. Mm-hmm. And I think the growth from there has just been natural, right? And then people are seeking us out because they know that we really care about mm-hmm. our clients and really care about selling our clients' properties. Mm-hmm. And so that's been really important. Yeah. Right. And then after that is really, getting the message across about that we're real people, right? Catherine and I have been together for 23 years. So what you see on camera is pretty much who we are, right? So it's, and that comes across, right? And we believe in pointing out the best things in a property, right? And I think as buyer agents, when we're sitting on that other table, we don't know much about that property. So this is our opportunity to really sell the property and really say all the positives about the property, so that client walks into the home knowing more about the home than anybody else. Like, we just inform them on everything, depending if the client's from out of town or in town. Mm-hmm. So I think that's...
Yeah. And I think more importantly, when we decided to, do the videos, we made one solid decision, and that was every single house gets a video. Yeah. It's really changed the game in terms of like, how are you going to get into everyone's house without the invite, right? So we used the social platforms, did the videos, and that was honestly the best move we could have made, right? So you're in their house, you're the first person they see, whether or not they know you or not, you're in their house already. So the minute they start thinking real estate, they're thinking Darren and Kat.
Right. So before we get into the actual production of your videos and stuff, I really, the whole idea that every home, no matter the property value or what it is, you guys put the same amount of marketing and, really kind of thought behind that property. Where do, and that is very different than what a lot of people around the world are doing.
Sure. Yeah.
How do we?
So how did that, that decision to say, hey, no matter what this property is going to, and what this sale is going to bring in for us, we're going to still put the same, energy and focus behind it?
Well, because it doesn't matter like what the value of the home is, it means that much to the home owner, right? So regardless of value, that's their biggest investment, and that's the buyer's biggest investment. So everybody deserves the equal amount of time, attention.
But that really comes down to our core beliefs, right? We believe the same for all our clients, right? And all our people in general, whether or not it's a $4 million home or whether or not it's a $100,000 home. We just believe in that's their most important asset. We want to give without a hook and just do the best job that we can, right? So that has been just really important. So most of our homes we do pre-home inspections on all our homes. So nobody else is really doing that, high production videos with all our homes. Mm-hmm. But also, what's interesting is that we became really trusted in the community and at large. And so Catherine and I have been very successful in selling a lot of our homes with sight unseen. So we'll just get offers and we become trusted, right? And they just trust in what we believe in. And that really changed in the past 3 years. Before that, we had to show the property, right? We still recommend that people look at the property, but sometimes with the way travel restrictions are happening, they can't do it. And so we were able to serve people from all over the world in the past couple of years, from as far as Australia to South Africa to, just all over the world. So it's been really, really, really good for us.
Right. So this focus on video, where did that kind of idea start, and how did you begin getting into the video content creation?
We had this really wild home that we competed on listing, and it was just this gorgeous home. And I was like, man, this we have to do a story about this property. Like, how do people really get to see this property? And so we decided to do our first video and do it that way. I mean, I dabbled in, we were just looking at our videos yesterday. I dabbled in video about 10 years ago, but the content was really incredibly poor. And we were just kind of laughing about it. So we always wanted to do it, but we never had that ability, right? So we found a local producer here, and it was his first video. We decided to work with him, and we worked together, and we kind of grew together, right? And now he's probably the number one content creator here locally, helps all the other realtors here locally, but we were the first, and we kind of grew together and made tons of mistakes together. But and we're still learning every single day. We just look back at our videos 6 months ago, and they're constantly evolving and constantly improving. And sorry.
No, that's okay. No, but that's what it was. It was this one particular home that needed to be marketed in a very special way. It was at a value that Sudbury hasn't quite experienced, right? And, there was different ideas on where this buyer was going to be coming from. So we wanted to extend it further than just the Sudbury market, right? Because there could be people overseas, it could be people from down south, so on and so forth. So how are we going to, give them a tour without them actually physically being here? And that's when we decided, okay, it needs a proper video and a tour.
Yeah, it's important for us. One of our videos earlier this year, put it in perspective, realtor.com in the States or .ca in Canada, it only got about 1,400 views. Our video, one of our videos generated over 100,000 views in 4 days. It went viral, and we had 11,000 requests to our landing page, and that transformed into a little over 122 showings in 4 days. So it was just viral. We had 15 offers, sold significantly over asking, and the buyer never saw the property. So again, it was just,
no,
but that's just.
Yeah. And so when you guys did that first video, and what kind of, and you saw the success that it had, did that really kind of say, okay, we need to do this for everything?
Catherine was the big driver for that. I mean, I was like, I'm more the penny pincher, right? In that aspect, like, no, we're not going to do all these expensive videos. But she was just driving, right? Giving without a hook. It just doesn't matter. We got to give it to everybody. And it's super important. Yeah. So we stuck with it. She was 100% right. And
well, once you see the reaction from, the public, that was really the driving force, right? Like, people really loved it. It was it was a fresh take on the real estate market. Like, it was pretty stuffy prior to this. So, when you see, the public really enjoying and loving that, how could you not want to give them more of it, right?
And that's really at our core. Like, right after this podcast, we're going to film a video for a local charity, right? And so, we do that every year for them, and then we put marketing dollars behind that to help the local charity
generate sales. Yeah.
Right. So we're always trying to give back to the community in the best way that we can. And we do the same with our clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when, the videos that you do, they're very highly produced. They look like they're coming right off of, an HGTV, episode or something. And you guys are so natural on camera too. How, what was that like getting started? Because I know that can be really overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. It's, it's just, everybody has their good days and their bad days. Sometimes you're total fire on camera, and other days it's just, you can't put two lines. Typically, like when we first started, I wrote all the scripts, like everything in detail. And I was hyper focused on saying every single thing on that script. I still do that, but I don't get obsessed over the verbiage. I'm focusing on the important highlights of the home. But, depending on how often you're doing it, you could be a bag of nerves, even though it's just you, the camera guy, and whoever else is on set or whatever. It can be overwhelming at times. So, but the more you do, it's like everything else. The more you do it, the better you get. It's just, you evolve.
Catherine's a natural. I mean, she just hits her lines every time, and she knows exactly what to say. And I'm terrible. Like, it's just, that's why you don't see me saying too much, because it's like cut after cut after cut. But total natural, knows her lines, and but
it's funny.
Doesn't choke on camera.
Well, yes and no. But I always say to him, I'm like, just know what your intentions are. That's all you need to know. Just focus on that. Don't worry about the verbiage. Yeah.
And you know what? Honestly, it's probably one of the funnest things that we do in our day-to-day. Like, a lot of people don't see the back stuff, right? New agents are just seeing us on camera and seeing this, but they're not seeing the 80 hours a week that we're putting in here, right? And, you know, it's 7 days a week. It's day in and day out. And we just don't stop, right? So the videos are a little tiny thing of our day that we do, but we get to laugh and have fun for that, you know, half an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, sometimes 4 hours. But we have fun doing it, and we laugh and come back and go crazy afterwards. Yeah. But sometimes it's been heavy. We did like 3-4 videos a day, and today we're doing, you know, 1.5. So one of the things when we say 1.5, we're starting to do our outside videos before snow comes. So when we drop these new listings in February, there's not 16 feet of snow in our pictures, right? So we're getting ready on that.
Yeah.
But we still want to continue, believe it or not, like, you know, once you have that drive, you want to continue to improve on it, right? And we still think that we got so much further to go. And I think it's going to be a really exciting one, where it's going to end up.
Right. So it was interesting. You just talked about having, you know, you're shooting now for things that are dropping in like February. So like, how much pre-planning and how much, talking with the seller does that, you know, because that could, you know, with having such a long outlook on these listings, what has that conversation been like?
Well, so because Darren and I have been very consistent with our videos, a lot of people are seeking us out. So when they've got the plans in the springtime, they're reaching out to us in the fall, and then we have these conversations. And, once spring rolls around, the property itself doesn't look the best, like it's not in its best light, right? So then we start planning, okay, usually it's in the summer if they're going to sell in the spring. So then we'll do all the pictures, we'll set everything up, we'll pre-drone, pre-video.
But it's thinking outside the box. It's like the year before, we had a 150 acre property. So we filmed part of the video in the fall, showing the gentleman like riding his ATV right by the pool, right by the pond. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it transitions into snowmobiles and snow, right? Yeah. So we're just showing the 4 seasons of a certain property. I think it's so important to really show off, and especially Sudbury here, we're the land of lakes. We have 360 lakes in our city. 330. 330. He's always correcting me, right? So, 330. So you're right, 330. But yeah, it's just showing off it's more than a home, right? It's a lifestyle up here. And I think it's just really important to show off all the goodness of all our properties.
Yeah. And
especially with people from all over the world visiting Sudbury, right? I mean, Sudbury's really on the world map. And I would say, I would be guessing, but I would say probably 70% of our buyers are international, would you say? Most of yours are international. Yeah. Right. So,
more or less. Yep.
Yeah. So, and that's one of the things, like with video and unlike any other platform, is that you can show off the lifestyle and be able to do that. And I think that's really important. I love that idea of shooting, in the different seasons and showing out. Like I said, I was a news photographer a while back, and that's what, we would pre-plan out some stories that I knew like long-term I'm going to shoot, and we would do kind of that same style. And I love that you're thinking so far ahead to be able to show off the, that whole scope of everything. That's really cool.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Because just like Darren said, it's the lifestyle, right? And we're trying to bring that feeling to that buyer. Like, hey, this is what you could do if you lived here.
Right.
These are the experiences you're going to have.
So now that you've been doing these videos, you said like a lot of your buyers are international. Did you see a big jump in your, a big change in your business coming from, outside of the market because they are able to see these videos and see these properties in places in a way that they maybe hadn't been before?
Well, we were always big in international, right? So I started off in an international. I started off in Toronto, right? And so most of my clients were from out of town. So I always kind of focused on that, but I never. It's tough because I never really market like Sudbury and Toll, where we are. It's just a small city, a very small city. So there's so much more business out there that's so much bigger than just us in our little bubble, right? So we always believed in going further, and we market all around the world, right? Trying to get those international buyers and trying to be that kind of face. But we've taken it further. Even before videos, we would help international people come to the city. We would help them with their driver's license, their social insurance number, their health cards, sending them up to doctors, doing that whole relocation kind
getting
of thing.
their children settled in school. It's a really overwhelming experience when you're coming over here and, you're in this strange city and, you're coming here for work and your kids are displaced and it's a lot to handle. So we would give a full service. And I think, as that continued and these families were having these experiences, they would then recommend us to people that they knew were coming in. So it wasn't necessarily due to the videos. It was more or less because of the service.
Right. And that just goes back to your whole idea of, it doesn't matter, the same kind of concept with your video is, it's we're going to give 100% no matter what the circumstances is. And I think that absolutely that's going to help, people are going to refer you to everybody that they know.
Absolutely.
Well, the other thing that it's transformed is that our showings are significantly higher with videos than our showing requests are significantly higher with videos than without videos. Mm-hmm. And we're also setting records in every single neighborhood that we go into. Mm-hmm. Right. And when you're on, the exact same model home, it's very easy to compare the prices, and we know we're setting records in every neighborhood. So we know our marketing's working. We know we're attracting the right people to our homes, and it's been consistent.
What so, and honestly, through the last year with the pandemic, I'd imagine that had to really help because people couldn't come into the homes, and so you can send them the link to the video and say, here it is, if you want to take the tour.
Absolutely. Oh, for sure. And I think that's what it is. With people, so just with the pandemic, people are not making that travel or that time to travel without qualifying the property first. Mm-hmm. So, and still, some of them didn't even make the travel. They just bought the property, right? Yeah. And the video definitely helped with that. So, and we were a year ahead before the pandemic even hit. So people were we were ahead of the curve. So it was pretty wild.
Right.
And we're all competing for the same buyers, right? So when you're going down MLS or realtor.ca or whatever the case may be, you've got thousands of houses to choose from, right? Mm-hmm. And so, having that video, people are going to watch that video. People are going to get attracted to that home. And we have that captive audience for 2 to 3 minutes, mm-hmm. Just to grab their attention and just show them why this home is the best home mm-hmm. for them, right? Yeah. So that's what. Sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. So before wrapping up,
believe it or not, this is actually harder.
Oh yeah,
this is actually harder to do than our videos. We can't say cut, do that over again.
No. So also, what do your buyers, or what do your sellers rather say when, because every seller is different. Like obviously, you guys have created this reputation for yourselves, and mm-hmm. but for each individual seller, when they see the results of what that video that you've done and what that marketing that you've done, and they all of a sudden they're getting these, 120 showing requests, what do they say when that happens?
We could back it up. I'm going to take this one. Actually, we've had it where we've actually done videos, believe it or not, that the client sees the video. We've had one client that has cried and didn't want to sell her home afterwards, fell back in love with her home.
Yeah.
Right. So, sorry, I cut you off. I was just thinking of that.
I think they're wowed for so many reasons, right? Who doesn't want to have their house, highlighted in such a way, right? They're proud of it, right? So the combination of, us highlighting their home, their sanctuary is, always a very proud moment for them. But then when it's generating the showings, but we prepare all our sellers for when the video drops and the marketing page is dropped. We tell them, you essentially have to get out of your house for a solid 4 days because the showings are going to be back to back to back. So we prepare them, and they're blown away 99% of the time. They think they understand, but once the showings and the agents are coming through, I think it's a pleasant experience.
Yeah, many of them, what Callie was touching about, many of them we recommend that they go into hotels or an Airbnb and just get lost. But I think the important thing is that the quality of that buyer that's coming through, they already know everything about the home. They have that pre-home inspection. We have a professional, not only a professional videographer, we have a separate professional photographer. So, we're getting quality buyers as opposed to, just any Joe Blow coming through the home that's only saw, 8 pictures on an iPhone and they don't know what they're walking into. Right. So we like to just show as much information about the home as possible and have that best qualified buyer coming through those homes.
Right. Well, and I got to imagine that really kind of helps cut down on the amount of time you spend after the marketing is done. Those one-on-one conversations with buyers and buyers agents. I got to imagine that the time that you spend now creating the marketing is really paying off in that time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Our goal is to empower the buyer, give them as much information as humanly possible. That way, when it comes time to, presenting these offers, they're strong offers, right? And they're confident in their decisions, and they know how much they're willing to spend on the property, and they're not holding back because they have the home inspections. And
also, if you go back to our videos, when we put our videos out there, each video, if a client wants to know more about that property, they're going to a static landing page that has only the information of that property. There's nothing about us. There's nothing about our other listings. It's 100% focused on this property, right? They don't have to register or do anything, right? So we just continue to give and build
the confidence.
Yeah, build the confidence and just, let's face it. Most buyers don't want to talk to a realtor at the very beginning when they first start looking at a home. And they just want all the information on the home. They don't want to go through the hoops to get more information on that property. So we just give it. And sorry.
No, that's okay. No, I just think I always view things from my perspective too, where I'll let you know when I'm interested, kind of thing. Give me the information that I need to know in order to, qualify whether or not I'm going to move forward. So.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate you guys taking the time. I know you said you got 1.5 shoots today, so I don't want to take up much more of your time today. Again, thank you again so much for doing this. And the videos are amazing. They're definitely hands down the best ones I've ever seen.
Oh,
really?
Thank you.
Yeah, they're incredible. Like I said, I come from a storytelling background, and what you guys are doing is really, really cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
We truly appreciate it. Thank you. It means the world to us.
Yeah.
I really want to thank Darren and Kat for joining us today. I had a great time talking with them and can easily see why they are so sought after in their market. So once again, if you think you or somebody else on your team has an awesome story or a tip to share with our community, send us a message at feedback@smartagents.com. Well, that wraps things up for this episode, but remember, follow the show wherever you listen to podcasts and make sure to subscribe to the Smart Agents YouTube channel. Again, I'm Michael Walter, and we'll see you on the next episode.